Welcome to today's explainer. Okay, I want you to imagine this. You've spent your absolute entire life training to become Earth's deadliest assassin. Literally the most dangerous person alive, constantly fighting just to survive day in and day out. But then, out of nowhere, you're magically summoned to a brand new fantasy world. And the person who summoned you? A stunning, incredibly powerful empress who just happens to need a fake husband for some political cover. She promises to feed you, clothe you, and let you live a life of total luxury with absolutely zero responsibilities. I mean, after a lifetime of constant bloodshed, what would you do? Well, if you're our protagonist, Xiamu 10, you don't even hesitate. You dive headfirst into becoming the ultimate pampered trophy husband. So Zhao Qian is totally on board for the easy life, but literally the second he arrives, this magical voice chimes in, offering to bind him to a supreme system that'll make him an overpowered god. And Zhao Qian, he just flat out says no thanks. He's completely done with working hard. Well, the system completely glitches out. It tries to force the bond, fails spectacularly, and actually ends up begging just to be his assistant. Zhao Qian shrugs and agrees, basically turning this almighty cosmic intelligence system into his personal digital slave just so it can stream anime for him. Oh, and he promptly names it One Cow. Now, you really need to understand the sheer scale of his power here. It's actually kind of hilarious. On Earth, human bodies are bound by 490,000 dimensional rules. But this new fantasy world, it's basically made of paper. It only has 3,000 rules. So because his body is already adapted to Earth-crushing physics, plus the fact that he has this ancient ultra-dimensional dragon bloodline, Xiao Ten is accidentally 470,000 times stronger than literally everyone else in this new world. I'm talking snapping rank 6 legendary weapons just by accidentally grazing them with his fingers. And honestly, this brings us to the core comedy of the entire story. Just look at the contrast here. On side A, you've got your standard local villains. They are out here plotting world domination, scheming to assassinate the Empress, unleashing ancient forbidden curses. The stakes are massive. But then, over on side B, you have our overpowered protagonist, Xiao Tian. His goals, he wants to roast a little pig in the mountains, take a nice nap on a bed of spirit stones, and make absolutely sure his terrifyingly powerful wife stays happy so she never forces him to get a real job. It's just a magnificent dynamic. Section 1, Annihilating the Blood Tribe, Ruining a Slacker's Afternoon. So things escalate pretty rapidly. Day 1, he gets there and realizes weapons basically shatter like glass if he holds them too tight. Fast forward to day 4. The Empress has to leave for a northern war, and she leaves her general's daughter, Lingard, to babysit him. Well, while Zhao Tian is literally just trying to enjoy his lunch, this deadly faction called the Blood Tribe ambushes and kidnaps them both. They force him to drink this terrifying, nonverbal promise poison. And what does Zhao Tian do? He downs it like it's a refreshing sports drink, wipes his mouth, and asks if he can go home now. When one of the guards tries to smack him for being smart, Zhao Tian throws this lazy side punch that literally vaporizes the guy on the spot.
But the really crucial point here is how Zhao Tian handles the cleanup. See, he really doesn't want Lingard telling the Empress that he's actually super strong, because strong people have to do chores, right? So step 1, he vaporizes the rest of the kidnappers with a glare. Step 2, he casually jumps up into the sky, rips an entire mountain out of the ground, and just drops it on the crime scene to hide the bodies. And then later, when that new mountain becomes a bit of an inconvenience, step 3, he literally blows it away into a flat plain using a tornado from his mouth. I mean, this is his version of sweeping dust under the rug. Xiao Tian's whole mindset perfectly boils down to this one quote. I just wanted to live a peaceful, lazy life, but you sent people to hunt me down. I want to be home by dinner. He figures if this blood tribe keeps attacking him, it's going to seriously cut into his slacker lifestyle. So he just picks up Lingard, launches himself through the sky without using an ounce of magic, and crashes headfirst directly into their secret cloaked floating fortress. And let me tell you, his dismantling of the blood tribe is fast, brutal, and completely hilarious. One of their top assassins, who, let's be real, looks like a discount Walmart Goku, tries to challenge him to an epic duel and gets vaporized with a single lazy punch. Next up, their seduction queen tries to use her lethal, irresistible charms on him. Zhao Tian rejects her, straight up telling her that if his empress found out, she'd divorce him and he'd lose his free room and board. Then he just punches her away. Finally, he tracks down the terrifying grand leader of the assassins, who is literally hiding under a bed, shaking in fear. Zhao Tian drags him out and ends the threat without breaking a sweat.
Section 2, The Poison Elder's Mistake, the worst choice ever.
The sheer level of disrespect Xiao Ten shows to this world's local magic is just incredible. We get to this scene where the terrifying 8th-level poison elder sacrifices 30 years of his own lifespan just to summon an inescapable, flesh-melting poison swamp. It's supposed to be an ultimate move. Xiaotian casually strolls out of the acid, remarks that the corrosive sludge is actually a fantastic spa exfoliant, and literally scoops up the deadly poison to use as a refreshing face mask. Gotta keep that skin glowing for the wife. The elder is so utterly baffled and humiliated by this invincible monster that he just gives up and takes his own life.
So, we have this impossibly strong hero whose only goal in life is to do absolutely nothing. Which brings us to a really fascinating question. How does an invincible, lazy assassin accidentally become the city's most beloved and successful administrator? Because somehow, while he is actively dodging fights and trying to nap, he is single-handedly fixing the nation's entire economy.
Let's look at these accidental civic achievements. It all starts because Xiaotian just wanted better food. So he casually hands over 1 million stolen spirit stones to Minister Zhang, who is the government's head of construction. He's effectively bribing a high official to be his personal chef. But to cover up where the massive influx of money came from, Xiaotian suggests Zhang hire southern gang refugees to build roads and bridges. Boom, massive homeless crisis solved overnight. Then, to get better wine with his meals, he casually slaps the brand name Empress's Grand Reserve on some local liquor, turning it into a massive economic boom for the city. And he did literally all of this purely to upgrade his own dinner menu.
Section 3. Conquering the royal court, facing the ministers.
Of course, he can't fly under the radar forever. Enter the corrupt Prime Minister Liu Han. This guy has been scheming for years to marry his own son to the Empress so he can steal the throne, and he absolutely despises Xiaotian. In front of the entire royal court, he demands Xiaotian be exiled for being a useless freeloader. When the Empress shuts that down, the Prime Minister sets a lethal trap. He challenges Xiaotian to decipher a legendary ancient book, knowing full well that anyone below the 10th heavenly realm, which is an impossibly high tier of power, dies the instant they open the cover. So Xiaotian accepts the challenge. He picks up the book, opens it, flips through it, closes it, and just sits there looking incredibly bored. The entire court is holding their breath, just waiting for him to explode into dust. Later on, when Lingard asks him how on earth he survived the book's lethal curse, Xiaotian drops this absolute gem of a line. Every time the book tried to kill me, it gave my body a little massage. I thought it felt kind of nice. The guy is so utterly beyond their universe's power scaling that a lethal ancient curse literally just feels like a gentle vibration setting on a massage chair. And if you want to talk about the ultimate flex, just look at how this plays out. The Prime Minister confidently wagers 6 million spirit stones on this test, fully expecting Xiaotian to drop that on the spot. Xiaotian's result? He actually forces his system, One Cow, to translate the book for him, fully absorbs the ancient god's inheritance, even bullying the literal god's spirit inside his own mind, walks away with all 6 million stones, and completely humiliates the corrupt minister right in front of his wife. It is a total crushing political victory, and he achieved it by just sitting in a chair.
Section 4. Wrath of the Slacker. Do not disturb.
Now, for the most part, Xiaotian is pretty chill. But what happens when the villainous Dark Soul Palace makes the absolute fatal error of kidnapping his personal chef? Yeah, Minister Zhang gets abducted to be used as political leverage against the empire. But when Xiaotian wakes up from his nap and realizes his chef is gone, he doesn't give a single thought to the political implications. He only cares that his luxury meals are being threatened. He is furious, so he flies straight into the heart of enemy territory. He completely crashes their little interrogation. The villains, thinking they're so clever, force Minister Zhang to swallow a lethal poison, and then make Xiaotian sign a blood contract with the heavens themselves, which is supposed to magically prevent him from attacking them. But Xiaotian doesn't care. He obliterates their base anyway. Because he broke the contract, the heavens send down this terrifying, giant purple divine punishment dragon to strike him down. But get this, the dragon takes one look at Xiaotian's ultra-dimensional aura, gets completely terrified, and lovingly coils around his arm like a pet puppy. The heavenly laws literally do not apply to him. At this point, the surviving villains drop to their knees, begging for mercy. But Xiaotian is completely done with them. He looks down and just says, "I gave you a chance to change, but I'm disappointed. Old dogs don't learn new tricks." Then he casually tears open a rift in space-time, tosses them into the void of reality, and politely loots their vault of 32 million spirit stones as compensation for making him leave his house. Section 5. The demonic empress approaches, a bizarre new threat.
Okay, so right when you think he can finally go back to sleep, a bizarre new threat emerges. The demonic empress, basically a supreme leader of the demon realm, disguises herself as a beggar to infiltrate the city. She tries to use her charms to manipulate Xiao Tian into pampering her. But Xiao Tian, he's just annoyed by her laziness. He actually smacks her on the head and tells her to go get a job. And, well, instead of getting angry, her latent masochistic tendencies completely awaken. She is utterly thrilled that someone finally had the guts to discipline her. She falls head over heels in love at first sight and decides right then and there that she is going to steal Xiao Tian away for herself.
If we recap this rapid escalation, it is just a timeline of pure chaos. First, he accidentally solves a massive refugee and economic crisis. Next, he casually annihilates a terrifying Dark Soul base just to save his personal chef. Third, he accidentally seduces the terrifying demonic empress by hitting her with a rock. And finally, completely fed up with all the constant scheming interrupting his lazy days, he marches straight up to the corrupt Changji Pavilion elders, exposes their decades-long conspiracy against his wife's family, and prepares to just wipe them completely off the map.
Which really leaves us with this final burning question. With a second obsessive demonic empress actively hunting him down, the prime minister still plotting in the shadows, and his own wife slowly realizing just how insanely competent he actually is, how long can our overpowered, completely invincible hero realistically dodge doing real work? Can Earth's deadliest assassin actually defend his title as a lazy trophy husband, or is he doomed to accidentally rule the entire world? It is such a hilarious, action-packed journey, and I highly recommend you check out the source material to see exactly how Zhao Tian's lazy days continue to spectacularly unravel.